All right, lesson 8 here. So lesson 8 has to do with rearranging formulas. So we're starting off with a definition for a formula. A formula is a type of equation that states a relationship between two quantities, often represented by variables. So here, formula representing the relationship between quantities, often represented by variables. So then it goes on to say, you're already familiar with many mathematical formulas, such as area formulas of rectangles and triangles, right? So the area of a rectangle, right? Area equals to length times width. This here is a formula. Area of a triangle, area is equal to 1/2 base times height. Another area, or another formula. Similar formulas also arise in sciences and other real-world situations. So, given a mathematical formula, there are two things you might be asked to do. One is to evaluate the formula. And then evaluating the formula is when we substitute in numbers for one or more of the variables. And the other thing you might be asked to do is solve the formula for a variable. So solve the formula for a variable is something we're going to look at here. So in physics, a formula for energy is given by E equals 1/2 m multiplied by v squared. And if you know the values of m and v, you can find the value of E. So for example, if m is equal to 6 and v is equal to 10, we can take our original formula of E equals 1/2 mv squared and substitute in 6 for m and 10 for v and work it out, and you'll find that E is equal to 300 here when you type that into your calculator or when you work it out on your own. So what you can also do, so this here, right, so this was evaluating. All right, so here we're taking the formulas here. So if we take the second thing we can do is solve a formula. So when we solve a formula here, so this is going to be solving, it's going to ask us to get a specific variable alone here. So here it says you can also solve the same formula for the variable m. So this one would be like solve the following formula for m. So they go through here with E equals 1/2 mv squared, right? And it's just like when we were solving equations, right? We're trying to get m by itself. So the first thing I did was multiply both sides by 2. That gets rid of our 1/2. So then we're left with mv squared equals to 2e. Then divide both sides by v squared so that the v squareds cancel out, and you have m is equal to 2e divided by v squared, which then they also wrote down here in that form there. So the first sample question here says, the formula for circumference of a circle is c is equal to 2 pi r, where r is the radius of the circle. Which equation shows the same formula solved for r? So here, they want us to solve for r. So they want us to get r by itself here. So if we take a look, if we're writing c equals to 2 pi r. Well, here we have 2 multiplied by pi multiplied by r. So if we want to get r by itself, we have to get rid of this 2 pi in front of it. So since it's all multiplication here, we do the inverse of multiplication, which is division. Divide both sides by 2 pi. Divide by 2 pi. Then on our left side here, it's just going to look ugly, right? C divided by 2 pi. Right? There's no simplifying that fraction here. It's equal to. Then on our right side, 2 divided by 2 is 1. Pi divided by pi is 1. So we're just left with r. So we look at which choice is c divided by 2 pi equals r. And remember that when we have an equation, right, we could also flip it if we want to write r is equal to c divided by 2 pi. And you'd see that that's the same as choice C there. So we just wanted to isolate the variable r because it told us to solve for r. Now let's take a look at sample question number 2. So sample question number 2. Get it right in the middle there. Oh, sorry. Says, the lateral surface area, LA, of a three-dimensional figure is the surface area of the sides only. The LA, or the lateral surface area, of a right square pyramid with side lengths S and a slant height L is given by the equation LA equals to 2SL. If LA equals 12 and S equals 4, what is the value of L? So this one is going to be one where we're kind of evaluating a formula that they gave us here. So they gave us the formula for lateral area. So they said lateral area is equal to 2 multiplied by S multiplied by L. Then they told us that the lateral area was equal to 12 and that S was equal to 4 and that we needed to find L. So we start by substituting in what we're given. So lateral area is 12, so we have 12 equals 2, and they gave us the slant length of 4, or sorry, they gave us the side of 4, and then the slant length L. Then here, for this one here, I'm just going to make it a capital L so we don't get confused. We multiply our 2 times 4, so 12 is equal to 2 times 4 is 8L. Then here, if we want to get L by itself, divide both sides by 8, divide by 8, and we'll have that L is equal to, when we take 12 and we divide it by 8, right, we'd simplify this fraction down and see that this is 3 over 2, which is choice B. So, started with our formula, right, and they gave us that formula right here. Then substituted in the information that they gave us and solved for the missing piece there that they were looking for. The next one down here says, the following sample problem can be solved by using the distance formula. So remember that distance equals rate times time twice. So first you must solve the equation to find the value of r. Then you can use the value of r together with the new value of t to find the new value of d. So this is kind of a compound problem here, right? We're going to have 2 steps, but it shouldn't be too bad. First one says a rocket travels 12 miles in 4 seconds. So 12 miles in 4 seconds. Then our second piece of information, or the second thing they want us to do is, at this rate, how far would it travel in 5 seconds? So they want to find how far would it travel in 5 seconds. So the first thing we're going to do is use our formula to calculate the rate. So we know that d equals r times t, right? This was given to us in the problem here. Then in this problem here, it says a rocket traveled 12 miles, so that's going to be our distance, in 4 seconds, which is our time. So we know that d equals 12 and t equals 4. You can substitute this into the formula to find the rate. So d, we're going to write 12, it's equal to the rate, which we don't know, so it's r, multiplied by time, which is 4. To get r by itself, divide both sides by 4, divide by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3, equals to the rate. So what we're saying here is that this rocket travels at 3, right, miles per second. So now we can use this information to find out how far it would travel in 5 seconds. So we use our same formula. So this is part 2. Same formula. That d is equal to r multiplied by t. But now we're given the time. So t is equal to 5 seconds. And we know the rate, the r, is equal to 3. So when we substitute these into the problem here, we'll have d is equal to 3 multiplied by 5. And then d is equal to 15. And then remember, this is distance, so 15 miles, which if you take a look is choice C. So we use the formula d equals r times t to first find the rate, then use that same formula with the new given information to find the distance. So as you go through here, right, you're looking at both of those, all three of those sample problems. They all kind of correlate to a different problem here. So question 1 here, right, which says that the formula is I equals P times R times T. It wants you to solve for R. So you're just trying to isolate R in this formula, I equals P RT. So you have to think what is on the same side as that R, and then how do you use inverse operations to remove it. Taking a look here, trying to find the error that this student made when they were trying to solve this formula here that they're given for V. So go through each step and figure out at what point did they make that error. When you go down to question 3, right? So question 3, you're given this formula, V equals I times R, and they want to find the value of I when they gave you what V is equal to and what R is equal to. So you'll substitute these into the formula here and then solve for the variable they're looking for. Question 4 here, going through, and you're given the formula a squared plus b squared is greater than c squared, right? And it says to solve for b. So which one of these here, how would you go about getting b by itself? And remember that if you had, say, a formula like x squared is greater than 3yz, and we wanted to get x by itself, we take the square root, so we'd have x is greater than the square root of 3yz. And then finally, the last one here says this is our formula for area of a trapezoid. And then first, or just go through here and solve this formula for h and explain the different steps that you use to do that. All right, so just like with all these other lessons here, right, go through, give it a shot. If you have questions, please message us on Schoology. We can get back to you as soon as we can with some help. Don't think that you have to go through here and treat this almost like a test, right? We want you to use your notes. We want you to ask questions. We want you to try and get help. So reach out either to us or to your other classmates here so that you're doing the best that you can when it comes time to putting your answers in for the quiz. All right, so take care, and hopefully we'll hear from you soon.